So the first part is I'm going to explain the experience we went through just now, and then the second part I'm going to whiz this round and we're going to talk about where I got this from, the theory from where we got this from, and the basic framework. So let me explain to you. The first thing we did is something called 1, 2, 4, all, and it's from a framework called Liberating Structures. There's an app for it, and there's lots of facilitation techniques in liberating structures. So if you go on a PSM2 course, for example, this is one of the techniques they use. So how does 1, 2, 4 all work? Well, the first thing is you silent brainstorm. And because of that, you have your unique ideas. Now, I did frame that initially by setting up what we'd already agreed. So there was already a boundary of what you were thinking. But you were thinking uniquely, so you weren't being biased by what other people were thinking. When it used to be, when traditionally we did brainstorming, which goes back to the 60s, and you say, what should we talk about today? And somebody goes, team health. Then straight away, everyone's got team health in the head. And that's all you'll talk about. So it'll be a very narrow and non-divergent way of thinking. So this is why silent brainstorming is really important. So we did 3 minutes of that. Then what was the second thing we did? Can you remember? Share. 2. 1, 2, 4 all. So you went into pairs. Then you had to articulate your ideas verbally, so from what you were thinking internally, externally, and you had to actively listen from the other person. So we're now starting to synthesize 2 different ideas. That was for 3 minutes again. Then what did we do? 4. This is why it's called 1, 2, 4 all, by the way. So you had 4 people, which was the whole table, and then I asked you then to condense it down into 3 things. And then we went to the whole room, all. Now, an interesting thing happened, and I didn't plan for it to happen, but in hindsight, I'm really pleased that it did happen, because I'm going to show what I did, and this is what facilitators need to do. So I screwed up a bit, didn't I? I went, great, that's your 2 minutes, off we go. I'd seen that this team, you were all ready, you were sat quietly, and I saw some people were chatting, but because it's only a short session, I was trying to generate some urgency. But clearly, you weren't ready, right? And you hadn't quite understood, so I hadn't quite explained that I wanted those 3 things. And I should have known, because you just asked me like 30 seconds to go, you said, what, you want 3 things? Oh my God. So obviously you weren't used to my style, and I sort of rushed it a bit. So I read the room. So I said, okay, you've got 30 seconds, get me 3 things. And I stood back expecting it to suddenly appear from nowhere. And then I saw at the back, you all started panicking, going, oh right, okay, and I could see the room I started to lose the room. But what I was doing as a facilitator was actively reading the room. And while I was trying to talk, I could see if I've got people's attention or not, or if people are being distracted. Facilitators sometimes say, well, these are the rules, this is the agenda, this is what we're going to do, 3 minutes is up, off we go, and then we'll carry on regardless. But remember, the outcome is to achieve a certain aim. So if you're not able to do that, it's okay to say, this doesn't seem to be working, do you want a few more minutes? So don't see the time box as a rigid thing. You want to create the urgency, but if you need more time, that's more than legitimate. So I actually went into pro mode then, and I thought, that's not quite right. By the way, this is the first time I've done this session. It's not quite right, so let's just add a bit more time. And that's okay. So then we went to the whole room, and then we condensed it down to 3 things with each table. That forced you to think, what are the 3 things we can talk about? Then I went around again and said, there's one more thing. But we did this here. Now, I call this is my phrase, the Atkins 6. The reason is, I went on the Lisa Atkins course 6 years ago now, when she came to New Zealand. And the first thing that they did on this 2-day course was this: what do you want to learn for the next 2 days? And we did exactly all of this. And she quite deftly put it into groups of 6. Now, at no point did I say to you, we're going to have to put it into groups of 6. And I asked you to self-organize, and we said, do you think this is stats? What do you think? And generally I was teasing the ideas out, so it's something we co-created together. And we ended up with 6 things. So you all had 5 or 6 tickets each. There's 25 of you here, so that's 125 tickets. Huge divergence. But then we progressively converged back in, and we're down to 6 things. And I think we're all shared, and we've got a shared understanding and feel that we've all been heard. And now the next stage is to vote, to decide what is the thing that we're going to do next time. And the thing it looks like, we're going to look at next time, I'll scan it and count, but it looks like culture. Yeah. Okay, so now that we've talked about it, we've had a deeper, meaningful discussion, And it isn't like the noisiest person in say culture because we happen to have an old psychologist in the room, and that's what they want to talk about. It's a genuine agreement with us all. But then we also feel that there's this other stuff here, and also you could capture the other stuff as well. But you don't want to overwhelm yourself, so we've got cognitive ease with those small things that we've done here. And that was the meeting done, and because I gave you a preamble, we got going, that little hiccup in the middle, and we did that in half an hour. So in half an hour, we got from gathering data, I set the scene, we gathered data, and then we had a bit of a middle bit where we had to have the deep conversation, we had a bit of a dip and a bit of a groan zone, but then we converged back, and then we had a course of action and a decision. See what I did there? So, what we're doing here, it's called the diamond of participatory decision making. And my assistant here. Isn't this good? This is I'd always called it the diverge converge diamond. That's all I've ever known about it. And I read about this book. And the book is called The Facilitator's Guide to Participatory Decision Making. So it's on Amazon, it's by Sam Kainer. Just bought a book for Freedom, and it shows lots of techniques to go through this model. So see this as an overarching framework, and within that framework you can have your own techniques. So I've got a few copies of the Amazon there, and there's also a link which succinctly explains the whole thing. Let's go through what we've got. So we've got business as usual. Now BAU for us was those 5 things that we started off with. Now that came from the last time when we quickly said what do you want to do, and I loaded it and got those 5 things. It'd be interesting to know how we align. So those things were, the top was diamond, which we're doing now, dysfunction, and then coaching the PO, coaching teams, working agreement and visualization. So last time we did it, I thought of visualization and people voted for it, but this time there's no visualization at all, right? So we've got a different set of data. So we've got this BAU here, we've got this bias data here, but that was because it was a quick fire vote. What we did here, we had the divergent zone, which was that silent brainstorming, and then we have the groan zone, which is all of the discussions we had, and it became quite difficult, and you saw we had a bit of a dip, because I thought we were ready to converge, but we weren't, were we? I thought I saw light at the end of the tunnel, but as a facilitator I thought, yeah, I need to spend some more time on this. So there's ups and downs here. This is a groan zone, and these are these mini diamonds that emerge, these other conversations that spur ideas, and we can sometimes diverge out again, and then converge in, and diverge out and in. And as facilitators, we need to compress this, but get people to feel that they've had time to express their ideas and synthesize ideas so we create great ideas. Then we get to the point of converging zone, because I couldn't go away with 125 things to do. Cognitively, that's just too much. We needed, what's the one thing that we can do? So we started to converge down. The first thing you did is you on your table converged onto 3 things, your top 3 things, and then I gave you one for free. But then we as a group, using the Adkins 6, converged down even further. And then we made a decision on the sequence of those things, which was 6, and 6 is a key number here, and then the closure zone. And then the closure zone is where I say, so it seems like next time we're going to talk about culture. So that is the diamond of a participatory decision making. That is the overarching way of thinking. Within these different zones, there are different techniques. So I use the Adkins 6 here, I use 1, 2, 4 here to diverge and then converge out. And then I used old school facilitation techniques and the kind of language I used, like lots of what questions, to try and tease out what you're really thinking and see if we've got a shared understanding. So this is old school facilitation, and I use dot voting for the decision making. But there's many other techniques you can use. Bubble sorting, there's lots there, and there's lots here, and liberating structures is lots of toolboxes, tools out of the box that you can just use. So I'd recommend looking at liberating structures. So this is the diamond of participatory decision making, and I would recommend you looking at the book. And that is us done for today, apart from a Q&A.